All right, we're going to continue with the Python basics section and get into loops. So we're going to go through in this same Jupyter notebook here. We're going to go through for loops first. So what this does is essentially allows you to write code to perform an action multiple times. It's looping. So the way you write the syntax for a for loop is you start with for, then you pick a name for the value each time that we're looping. So it's going to be like essentially a variable name that we can utilize within the for loop function. I'm just going to call it val, and then we type in, and then this is where you can choose. If you have a prior variable, you can use that. If you just want to use a current one, I'll show you how to utilize two of the different ones, and we'll see more throughout the course later. But the first one we'll just do is a string. So the way it loops through this string is it's going to perform a loop for each letter within this string. So this will be 5 different loops. Now, the letters really don't matter. If I wrote within this for loop, and you have to make sure it's indented, that's the proper syntax, print val. What this is going to do is it's going to print the letter each time it loops through within this string here. I'm going to shift enter, and you can see it does that. But if I just wanted to do print the number 1, it's going to print every time. For the word hello, if I picked another 5-letter word like horse, it's going to perform the same exact action. So you can see that that doesn't really matter there. The next thing I want to show is how it does it, how it loops through a list. So if we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I wanted to print the val, it's going to loop through 5 times, printing the value within the list in order. So you can see shift enter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this can be utilized for adding to a certain value. So if we wanted to start with the variable x equals 0, and then we wanted to set a new value for x on each loop, we'll put x is equal to the current value of x, which to start the loop, it's going to be 0, plus the val. So the first time around, what it's going to do is it's going to take the starting value of x equals 0. We're going to create a new value for x. So x is equal to the current value of 0 plus val, which in the first loop is 1. So then what that will do, and we're going to print x, then the new value of x is print out 1. Then the next time around, x is currently 1. So we're going to create a new value for x. X is currently 1 plus the current loop value, which will be 2. So that'll be 1 plus 2 equals 3. So the next time that it loops through, it'll give us 3 and so on. So if we shift enter, you can see exactly how that works. Next, we're going to move into while loops here. This functions a little bit differently. It essentially has to get to a point where it stops. So it's saying it's going to loop while the current process is true. So if we say while x is less than 6, and we'll actually give it a starting value for x. And actually, just to not get confusing, we're going to use y this time around. Y is equal to 0. That's our starting value. And while y is less than 6, the new value of y we're going to give is y is equal to y plus 1. And then what we'll do is we're going to print y. So the first time around, what it's going to do is y is equal to 0. While y is less than 6, this is true, right? Because it's 0. 0 is less than 6. We're going to run through this code here. So the new value we're going to give to y is y, which is 0 plus 1. So it's going to be 1. So it'll print that. It's going to do this up until y is no longer less than 6. So once it gets to the value of 6, it's no longer going to run the code, and it will break, essentially. It'll stop. So let's run this. You can see it gets up to that value of 6. Why did it get to the value of 6 and not stop? Here's why. Y goes through, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once it gets to Y is equal to 5, it prints that out. We have 5 here, so 5 is less than 6. The new value for Y is Y equals 5 plus 1 is that 6. So that's why it didn't stop there. Now, if you wanted it to stop 5, then you could just change that variable up. But that is a for loop versus a while loop. We'll show you more on those later in the course.